Alright, so I have some exciting news for all you fellow Kino fans out there. We are a big fan of our Kino lights. We have two of the Kino Diva 401s. We use them a ton, great for interviews, huge source of light, nice soft light. We have one set up right here, that's actually what's lighting me right now. We have the diffusion on top of it. They're great. Some of the cons though, for Kinos. One is the life of the bulbs. Over time, they start to fade a bit in terms of they become a little bit less bright, and more importantly, the color starts to tint. I know normally with the daylight bulbs, they can tint a little bit more towards magenta, and for the tungsten bulbs, sometimes a little bit more towards the green. But you can actually see, if you look at your fixture sometimes, if you've had your bulbs for a while, you can kind of actually see a little bit of tint shift from bulb to bulb. The Diva 401s have 4 of the dual bulbs in them, and if you really look closely, you know, there is a little bit of variation, which isn't great if you're going for a high CRI image and you're shooting interviews and you want to get accurate skin tones. You don't want to start to see some of that magenta or green shift on your skin tones. So there's a company called Ushio. I randomly stumbled upon them in an article I was reading about some new cool products that were out there, and they decided to make an LED replacement for the Diva lights, which is awesome. When these came out, they were pretty expensive. I bought mine used, luckily, so they weren't at that kind of premium price, but I know the Diva 401s, when they came out, I think a set was anywhere between $3 and $4 grand, and that's kind of similar for what Kino's new LED lights are now. So if you don't want to spend another $3,000 or $4,000 on brand new LED lights from Kino's, this is a cheap replacement to do that. So I actually haven't even opened it yet. We just got them from Adorama. These are the Ushio LED replacement bulbs, and unfortunately they are not bi-color, which will give us more light output, but we wanted to test them out before we bought 8 bulbs of each color for our lights. So I just ordered 4 of the daylight ones that we are going to do a test with you in a little bit and see how they stack up to the old fluorescent bulbs inside the Kino fixture. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what they look like. Alright, so here you see the Ushio ColourMax LED LTT, which I believe stands for LED Twin Tube. I'm going to go ahead and open these up. Like I said, these are the 5600 Kelvin bulbs, aka daylight balance. And here we go. Looks very similar to the original Kino bulb. I actually have these ones next to me right here so I can do a side by side. So here is the old Kino fluorescent tube. This is actually the tungsten balance ones because my daylight ones are in both of my lights right now. But if you can see, the one thing I did read is that these are quite a bit longer. You can see there's about, line them up, about an inch longer, which shouldn't be a problem fitting in the actual fixture, but I know some of the complaints online were that they don't fit inside this pre-cut box, unless you probably need to cut out all the extra styrofoam on this side, which keeps them nice and snug in there. But I'm not planning on buying too many of these. I want to see first how they look inside the light. So we're going to go ahead and put these in our Kino, and we're going to do a side-by-side test with Anthony as our test subject and see how the lighting looks from one to the other. Let's go take a look.
Still hot?
No problem. These get really hot. Moment of truth. Oh, wow. Those are bright. Those are really, really bright. Let's see how they do. dim pretty nicely. Alright, so now we have the shot with the Ushio bulbs in. You can see the shot already off the top is a little bit overexposed. I wanted to leave the exposure the exact same as with the original Kino fluorescent bulbs in, so you could actually see what the difference was. So the LEDs are, in fact, quite a bit brighter. Here's me testing the dimmer, which it actually dims pretty nicely. They don't get cut off when you try and dim them down. And here is with corrected exposure. So you actually gain a full stop of light. So I stopped down to a 4.0 from a 2.8, and you can see right now that it is pretty in line with the original shot in exposure. The major difference you can see is that magenta that you're getting from the fluorescent lights.